This video was brought to you by Embedded System Solution, a company composed of like-minded electrical engineers, computer engineers, and computer scientists, and whose main goal is assisting our engineering customers, non-engineering customers, and technician level customers with their electrical and computer engineering level and technician level needs. Our customers range everywhere from engineering students to university professors, technicians to engineers, junior engineers to senior engineers. Please feel free to visit us at www.embeddedsystemsolution.com. Again, www.embeddedsystemsolution.com, or better yet, email us at support@embeddedsystemsolution.com. And like always, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like.
Okay, and so the $1 million question is, why even bother learning Git? What's the purpose of Git? This might be for the people that are, again, college students or people new to application development. So I'm going to give you the 3 reasons why you should learn Git, why Git is important. There are many more reasons, but to me, these are the 3 most important reasons, right? And so, again, this slide represents, as the old saying goes, tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you told them. This slide represents tell them what you're going to tell them. And so it's okay if the lingos, you don't understand it. That's fine, because in future slides, we're going to talk about it more in depth. And, so if it goes by, do it. But at least you will have to know the 3 fundamental reasons as to why learn Git. Okay, so reason number 1 is version control. So the reason to use Git is version control. Now the second question is, what is version control, right? And so typically on an application, it doesn't matter if it's a website or if it's a C application, a Linux application, or even an Android application, right? It's composed of files, .c files, .c++ files, .html files, .java files. By the way, Git is a project is always made out of files. Now, what type of files, that depends on the project, right? But so for every single project, there's actually a project folder, and that folder has all the files for that project. So let's suppose you're doing an Android app. You typically create an Android a project folder. You name it. You can even name it, an Android app, and you put all your project files, your .c files, .java files, all the files inside of that project. So as you can imagine, throughout the day, every day and every other day, you're either adding files to that project folder, you're either deleting files from that project folder, or you're editing files to that project folder. And believe it or not, well, I'm pretty sure you believe it, as days progress, you kind of get confused as to what you did the previous day or the other day. And let's suppose after day 5, again, if this lingo, you're not going, you don't understand this lingo, that's perfectly fine, because we're going to cover it more in depth in future videos. But let's suppose every day you do what's called a commit, and a commit essentially means that you're taking a picture of your project folder with all the files and everything that's inside of that file at that moment. And it's called a snapshot, right? It's a picture. You're taking a picture. So every single day, let's suppose you take a picture of your project folder. By day 5, you're going to have 5 pictures. And the really beauty thing about Git is that, let's suppose you made the realization that the past 2 days has been nothing but garbage. You completely misunderstood the project. Someone gave you the wrong instructions, and you're like, oh crap. So you have to go back to day 3. You can actually revert your project folder back to how it looked like on day 3. That is awesome, in my opinion. And not only that, but you can also keep the contents of the files that you did on day 4 and day 5. So you don't necessarily have to delete them. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. And that's another beauty about Git, that you never truly delete anything. Even if you delete a file, you're not really deleting a file. So you can undo everything. But anyways, so version control, that's what it allows you. It allows you to not only track the progress of the project, but also allows you to revert if you need to revert. So that's reason number 1. Now, another nice thing about Git, and this is probably what convinced me, is project backup. Now, what does that mean? So again, I'm going back to college students and people new to Git. That's why you're watching this video, because you're new to Git. And so what you're used to in a university setting or personal setting is you have your own laptop, and basically every single time you work on the project, you save the project progress in your laptop, in your project folder, which is your laptop. and that's fine, the application, the software. But what happens, let me ask you this, what happens if you lose your laptop? Uh-oh, you're in trouble. Or what happens if your laptop breaks? Again, you're in trouble. You lose days of work. And work and day and time is money. So a nice thing that's integrated into Git, it's the fact that you can do project backups. Now, yes, maybe most of you guys are used to if you're new to application development, you're probably used to saving your progress in a USB, on a flash drive, whatever you want to call it. That's just asking for trouble because, think about it. It's because it's a flash drive. Technically speaking, just like you can use the laptop, you can lose the flash drive. Let's suppose you have the flash drive and the laptop on your backpack and you lose the whole backpack. Well, back to square one. You really haven't solved anything. Project backup capabilities is naturally integrated into Git. And probably another important reason to learn Git, or an advantage of Git, why learn Git, is multiple collaborators. Now, this was new to me, especially when I barely graduated college, because in the university, I was used to developing applications by myself. And so when I got into the work environment, the work setting, I was surprised because it's well, why does it take so many people to design one application? Well, this might be a shock to you, especially if you're new to this, but actually it takes 3, 4, 5 people to design one application. Everybody has their own areas of expertise. This is something that I did not understand. I thought I was a one-shot guy, but no, it's not the case. There's no way you can do it. Let's suppose a simple game. So let's use an example: multiple collaborators, a single game, right? Let's suppose in the game you can have capabilities like charging people. Let's suppose they want more levels, they want more guns, more stuff like that. To the game you can integrate charging, and that's as you can imagine, that's very delicate stuff. You got to make sure you have encryption enabled, and encryption like the back of your hand, because otherwise you can cause someone to steal their other people's identity, because you have their information, you have their credit card information, and you want to make sure that that's safely behind a firewall, but at the same time at the application level, that you do hashing to store information. Well, not necessarily hashing, right? But you want to make sure you use encryption, right? So there's those speciality of people. Then you have the webcam. Let's suppose, like in this case, So in that case, it involves image compression, video compression, audio compression. We're talking about coders and encoders. We're talking about P-frames, I-frames. There's a lot of stuff that goes into webcams, into compression. So you have that set of person. And at the same time, you have the developer, the application developer that actually develops the game, the one that's actually doing the motion and stuff like that. So as you can imagine, that in itself, that's 3 people, And so Git just naturally lends itself to everybody working on the same application at the same time. Especially even if all 3 people are working on a single file, Git is still very, very helpful in terms of you not stepping on each other's toes, and Git is the one that handles that, so it helps. It just helps. So again, those are the 3 reasons. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We covered this, but there's in the future trainings and other trainings, we're gonna go more in depth into each one of these. So if you feel this is pretty fast, that's not a problem. We'll cover this. Tell them what you told them, and tell them what you told them. Tell them again, and tell them what you told them. Something like that. So that's what we're gonna do. So anyways, so the first thing that we're going to cover is version control, which basically means as you start every single day, you do a commit, you could go back to that day. So again, pictorially, so you can understand, so we can understand the concept of what Git is, right?